name's Todd, and I'm from Ithaca, New York.
All right, and so how did you get started on your health journey?
Well, that's an interesting question. About 7 years ago, I started having some serious medical problems, mainly from the lifestyle that I had been living for, the last 20, 30 years. And these things were happening. I was very athletic when I was a lot younger, and I guess that kind of masked what was going on inside me. And finally, at one point, I was feeling bad around 7 years ago and went and saw some doctors, and they told me I had contracted certain diseases 30 years ago, and there being no cure. And then when I saw what the treatments were, there really was no cures, and there really was no hope. And a lot of people who took these experimental drugs, a lot of times their diseases would come back a lot stronger and kill them. So I didn't accept that and started reading a lot of things.
How long do they?
A lot of things on nutrition.
How long did they tell you had to live?
I mean, they didn't say exactly, but their exact words were, "Get your life in order now," because, I mean, he didn't put it. It could have been in 6 months, a year. They really didn't know. And we never completed all the testing. I didn't want any part of it. At that point, I was pretty devastated and said, time for some soul searching and trying to figure out, what I want to do. And I didn't accept the fact that what they were saying was my only choice. And so that's when I started doing a lot of reading. And at first it was really hard. I went vegetarian first because I knew even before that what I was doing wasn't quite right. And at that time I was still drinking and taking drugs of different kinds. And at that point I stopped all of that. But the diet, that's been changing, I guess, for the last 7 years. And I discovered 80-10-10 around 3 years ago. And that's when it really started making sense. And I had become vegan at that point, but that took it a step further. And I guess that's where I'm at now, is trying to do the 80-10-10. I'm not there 100%, but I'm working on it.
What appeals to you about the 80-10-10 diet?
Being healthy.
Yeah.
Being able to live. That's and just being, when you're not eating right, you don't feel good. You're tired all the time. It's a lot of those other things. You don't feel good about yourself. So all those things tend to change. The biggest change I found was energy. That was, it was amazing to me how tired I used to be all the time at the end of a workday, say 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd be dead. And usually pass out right after dinner. Standard American dinner put me right out. But 20 years later, and then eating fruit and vegetables, the energy level is unbelievable. I can work 18 hours a day now and not even think about it. And that's even with diseases that I still have. But hopefully I can overcome that and live another 20 years. That's the plan anyway.
Thank you, Dad.